Hey, KMS Rundown listeners. You can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Prime members can listen ad-free on Amazon Music.
Sheldon, this is the rundown. How we doing, buddy?
Not too bad. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's a beautiful Friday, February 16th. It's just the two of us. I know Ziggy's going to be joining us later. This is all that I've wanted is I get to talk to my buddy. We don't have any interruptions. We don't have to worry about where the microphone was placed or, if somebody blathering on and going on a rant and we just have to sit there and wait and you go through another golf club. This is beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's just a shame that some people don't care about the rundown as much as we do.
It's I wish we had people that were dedicated who could be with us every week. It seems like it's hard to get some folks. They're very busy. But you're Mr. Consistent. I'll say you're the only guy who actually has a real job, and you're here every week. So I appreciate that.
I am here. That is true.
You're here. You're ready to go. We can go to a number of different places. This will probably be a short show because there's not a lot to pull from this week other than obviously the free throw shooting competition. The KMS shows have not been technically sound. I think that's probably a kind way to say it. A little bit more to be desired. Maybe. So we can get into those things. I do want to talk some free throw shooting with you because I know you are a true basketball pro, and I think you probably could have had a very good Division I, career with your basketball career. But we'll get into that later on. I know you're a humble guy. You're a humble guy. We're going to talk about that later on.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the week that was with last week with Justin and your thoughts, your initial take from the show that we had with Justin. And then him on KMS this week talking about us and his impression of it. I've got some sound too, but I just want to get your initial thoughts.
He acted like we were trying to railroad him. We just wanted to talk about the show and everything. And then when he's told Kirk, he's like, well, they're trying to get me to read DMs on the air. And it's like, that's not what we were trying to do. Like, we had Mutt on. It's not like we were trying to railroad Mutt. We just wanted you on to talk about KMS. We weren't trying to do a gotcha moment.
Right.
So I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Like I thought we were trying to, I thought we were having a good time. We were laughing. He seemed like he was pretty comfortable. He seemed guarded at times when we were trying to talk about things, particularly the DMs. Like you mentioned with Mutt, Mutt had a great time with it. He mentioned the blow spot thing with the DMs. I thought that was like a nice little opener to get him to hey, you don't have to give us any details on names. You don't have to tell us who it was. Just curious, what's a funny DM you might have gotten at one point when you're looking at the show account? That's all. That's it. That's all. I thought that was pretty funny.
No, and it's like he's just so guarded, and they were trying to get me to do this and this and that, and it's like, yeah, that's not exactly how that went, but okay.
Yeah. Well, so I've got a little bit of audio here we could play, we can react to on the show. I thought there was some interesting instincts on his part.
It all became so. Blind Owl Red is on the KMS rundown, and they took last week off, and VD came in, and that's how we got the whole Daver story. BO was one of those, Blind Owl was one of those people that was on with VD. And then when I was on the rundown this past weekend, they took some shots at Blind Owl. So they were kind of going back and forth. And Red just with no humor attached to it.
Yeah, he seemed very upset.
Just,
what did he tweet?
Let me see here.
He was calling out his disability and everything too, I think.
The rundown, by the way, if you listen to it this past week features Justin basically is let me tell you how the world works. Episode.
What do you mean? They were trying to get me to read DMs from the show account, and I was like, yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of the way we do it in the show was that thing. I was like, oh my god.
That was definitely not it. Jesus Christ. I don't need to know the magic behind it. I just like the magic itself.
What else?
I do have those tweets between Blind Owl and Red.
Yeah, what else?
It just doesn't doesn't care at the end. That's great.
Because it didn't matter. And honestly, I don't even remember what I said on that episode. I don't care. I really don't have a problem with them. And I honestly don't remember what I said, but whatever I said, they were very upset, and I don't know what else to say. So yeah, I'm boring, whatever. I don't care. I'm just going to move on.
Right. And I didn't think the tweets would be something that would be show worthy. I had no idea. I did love that Justin tried to like really force them right back in at the end somewhere.
Yeah, but then he wasn't even prepared to fucking read them. He didn't it
Didn't
bothered
even
him
have 'em.
so much, but he didn't even have them.
Didn't even
Like-
have them. Couldn't even read them. And then by the time he got back to it, it was like maybe like 45 minutes later. Big Cat was then, he's trying to introduce it. Big Cat comes in. Obviously, Kirk and Big Cat have much better things to talk about. And then they leave. And then Justin is like, "Oh yeah, let me get back to those tweets." And Kirk's like, "No, I have no desire. Don't care. Never cared about this topic at all." So it was like,
they had all weekend to have everything ready to go, and they were still just unfucking prepared on Monday.
Unprepared. And he could have at least had, like, coming into that, they're coming right off of the free throw competition. I think the biggest miss that they had was they didn't have any of the Brandon Walker Kirk blow up. They didn't have that sound at all. Like that would have been great sound and video to react to in the moment. They didn't even have that. So it's like, I listen, I don't want to be judged here. I understand the kings of comedy over at the Kirk Minahan show.
And honestly,
talking about
that wasn't even
Emeralds,
that
but-
show worthy. They had a giant stream that they just done, and they want to talk about that. Who the hell cares?
Who the hell cares? Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like Menner's complaining that they're talking about the free throw competition. It's like, well, they just happened. They did a 15-hour, 16-hour plus stream of them shooting free throws. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. Like it was definitely worthy of talking about. Like probably going to talk about that for maybe that show and maybe an additional show that might happen. Like that's perfectly fine. I don't know why our tweets or any issues we have with idiots. And by the way, too, like I have no issue with Blind Owl. I don't really care. I find it interesting that somebody who is constantly a reply guy, who's mean to strangers all over the place, anybody that Kirk has an issue with, he's hopping in their mentions and just like trying to get them to block him, is like all of a sudden like has hurt feelings because of mean tweets is a very strange thing. But I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me at all. I'm not here. Like I thought nothing of it. I think nothing of it now. It was such a strange thing for Justin to bring up. And it would be great if Coleman and Justin had a little bit more preparation, because Kirk definitely needed it, man. He was absolutely exhausted in that show.
And I mean, just try and shoehorn it in to that show and then
Right.
not have any of it ready was just stupid. But whatever.
It's stupid. Yeah, it is what it is. Question about another thing too, like when it comes to the preparation of, like there was another thing where there was like a Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons was making news. He was going after Pat McAfee. That was another one where it was like there was sound to react to for Bill Simmons that they didn't get to at all. There's still that Jeff D. Lowe story about Coleman, or some kind of a something going on with Coleman's tweets, or something that Jeff has that they never got to as well. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if you have any speculation on what they're talking about with Coleman, but he got absolutely roasted this week anyway without it.
Yeah, I have no idea what that would even be. The only thing I will say about Coleman and Justin with the stream and everything crashing this week, wasn't it a couple weeks ago Justin figured out what they were paying for internet, and it was like just a ridiculous amount. He's like, I'm gonna have that fixed, we're gonna find someone else. Then I haven't heard anything about it, and the internet has been even shittier since then. So what's
Right.
going on with that?
Right.
That's
Yeah. What is that all about? And
Yeah.
it seems like maybe they cut corners and they're getting what they're paying for now. Maybe, I don't know. Like it's insane. Like I think from what I was reading online too, they said the stream went out for YouTube, but it didn't go out for everything. So I don't know that the internet went out. Like just YouTube did, which I'm not a technical guy.
We can say what we want about Dave and Steve and Gus. This never happened.
No, not like
I
this.
mean, and I know the jump from Steve to Dave, the sound was different because Dave was using different mics and stuff in this, but it was never this shitty, this choppy, this everything.
Right.
And they just can't seem to do it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like there's definitely a some kind of a miss with this group. Like Coleman and Justin are not technically sound, and I know I'm a Cullinane guy, but Cullinane, there is no doubt, like technically sound, microphones sounded great in studio. Of course, there was the Plymouth Live show, but there was bigger things going on there. This is in studio, and when Kirk was in New York or in Chicago, Cullinane made sure he took care of business there. And he would either follow Kirk to New York or Chicago, or he would take care of business while he was in Watertown. And for whatever reason, these guys cannot do that. And I don't know, like, it feels like Justin is the guy who should be bringing the bits and the content, and he's bringing more stories. And it seems like Coleman is not great at the stories. The technical side of it, the sound of it that's what he said is his baby. And he wants to make it sound like a great show. He's not here to create content. He's here to make it sound like a great show. And it's not doing that right now.
So what I don't get, it sounds like shit. I mean, people forget Carano ran the fucking live show at Madawaska too. That wasn't
Also
even
true.
Dave. And that sounded fine. So how about Justin and Coleman reach out to Steve or reach out to Dave and ask for help? I'm sure they would be willing to answer questions and help instead of, yeah, we're getting it fixed. How are you getting it fixed? It's been shitty the whole time. Like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. What's going on here?
So I mean, I know Kirk has said in the past that he doesn't care about the video and he doesn't care about this, but eventually when enough people are bitching, he's going to lose his mind.
Right.
So
And
just get it fixed.
Get it fixed. And these guys got, I don't know how much time to do it. They've got that Monday show next week. And then I think Kirk might be off for the rest of the week. Like, they got to get this thing fixed, because even when they are in studio in Watertown, it seems to be choppy. There's glitches with them streaming on multiple channels. Like, it's not whatever they're doing, it's not working.
Well, I mean, maybe this week it was, I don't know how the hell they do it when he was doing it in Chicago and they were back to Watertown. Why the fuck they were even involved, really, I'm not sure. Because Jeff was actually producing the show for him in Chicago. So I'm not quite sure why. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. It just drives me insane.
Right. Yeah. And I think Coleman, unfortunately, has been a meat shield for Justin this week. For the both of them, it's going to be a tough times on Monday morning, whenever, whatever's going to happen there. I hope they get Dave Cullinane in studio, get Steve Robinson in there, because I'm sure they were sitting there nodding along and smirking as Coleman got a motherfucking from Kirk and from Portnoy and from Whitney. It was unbelievable on that
when he was mouthing off to Whitney about BU and stuff, and it's like I don't think in this moment I would talk back.
Yeah, time and a place. Yeah,
like you're getting killed, and then you still want to throw in jabs and talk back. It's like, that's not good. And like,
not good.
Bailey Carlin sucks, and then there's so many tweets. I mean, so many.
It's just flirting with Bailey and flirting with Kelly Keegs, and I'm not sure of those two which one has the bigger penis, but it's very questionable. It's very questionable tweets.
And
from Coleman on
Dave going, well, I'm not going to hold it against him, and Kirk's like, you can just tell Kirk's like, God damn it, I wish he would.
Right, I wish he
fucking
would
fire him. Because Friday's show, oof, I mean, the sound quality sucked, and then the stream died, and they didn't tell him, and started a new one. So then the next stream was what, like 4 minutes and some seconds.
Yeah. The not telling was not a good move by Coleman.
No, and then Kirk went to Mostly Sports and yelled at Titus and Titus and Brandon Walker, couldn't even remember.
Yeah.
And then the unnamed show where just everyone was mad.
Yeah.
Everybody. So
my other note I had was, I think, are you a Rico guy? I'm a Rico guy. I'm a rider. I consider myself a rider.
I'm a Rico guy, but I can see where he would drive some people insane.
Right. Because here's my question. Like, I don't understand. I think Rico's funny, and everything gets like boiled down to whether you're doing a bit or not. It seems in this universe, like you're either doing a bit or you're being organically funny. And some things are bits that are allowed to be bits, and some things are not. From watching the stream, first off, I couldn't stop watching the stream of that free throw competition. And watching it, Rico always made me laugh, and it seemed like he's always making Portnoy laugh and Big Cat. But for whatever reason, he's not making Kirk laugh. Like, that's something that's just, to him, is not funny. And even Jeff D. Lowe's enjoying it. And I know, like, when Kirk was talking to Che and to Titus, I know Che and Titus are pretty much done with Rico. But do you find it weird how Rico gets treated by Kirk and those around Kirk, but then everyone else seems to find it funny? I don't know if you find it funny, but I do.
I do. I don't know if everything's a bit with him or that is him. And I think Kirk thinks that it's a bit, and he's just, I'm done with this bit. Like, just be
Right.
yourself. But then again, Rico has always been a bit. He used to be on Pick Central or I don't even know what the fuck it was, and he was blurred out, couldn't show his
Right.
face, and then he
Right.
was going to quit his show because Big T and those other guys, they made a shirt, something with him that he didn't want to do. There's something to having to do with him, and then he was going to quit the show, but he wasn't even working for. Yeah, it's just I don't even understand Rico all the way, and I think Kirk does, and he's just annoyed with it.
Right.
So
Yeah. I don't know if Rico can actually be Rico and survive at Barstool if there's people constantly telling him what he can and can't do. And I don't know if he's going to call into the show, because if he calls into the show, that's also a bit. So is that allowed to happen? Like, I don't know if Kirk's going to like that or not, but there's got to be some kind of understanding here of what's a bit, what's not a bit. And I think you just got to let Rico be Rico. Like, he's a crazy person, and you don't want him throwing high noon cans at people. You don't
that
want
was
him
a hell of
going,
a throw, though. That was a hell of
throw.
a throw.
And I'll tell you this, it's the only thing that Big T can do, because and I know, I think we were texting about this before the free throw competition. Everybody was talking about how good Big T was, or whatever it was. It was like, the dude's never had to shoot a pressure free throw in his life. He's a mental midget. And as soon as the pressure was on, that dude was missing every shot, and he was missing it short, which is insane because he's a massive human being.
And then to gaslight Kirk yesterday,
Right?
Well, they're saying how good he did.
I was great. Yeah,
I think Mantis end up making more free throws than him, and Mantis showed up how many hours later?
He did. When you're that big, man, like, all you got to do is just like put that thing up there, it's gonna go in. And he was just like so in his own head. They needed him, so the only thing he can do is dodge a can, because he can't pick a soft pretzel either. He's struggling right now, but he doesn't realize it.
That's all rough.
That's
and like the thing about, we only got 3 KMS shows this week, which I'm thankful for every KMS show we get. But if you followed Kirk in Chicago, we had him on the Yak that first day on the Yak when I didn't think the stream was going to go well that night, because my God, Titus didn't want anything to do with it at all. Right. And then he did apologize at the end, and then you never not quite know how they're all going to take it, but then they were fine. And then we start off the Tuesday show with Titus in, because the stream started. I was like, oh, what the hell? Yeah. So they're fine now. It's just insane how it works.
Oh, it's great.
And then he was on Mostly Sports also, and he did the Yak Challenge at Jeff D. Lowe. My God. I want Mayo to do the exact same challenge, but I want him to do it worse than Jeff D. Lowe, because I refuse to believe that Mayo could do any better.
I've never known. I'm assuming Jeff is somewhere in his 30s. I can't remember where he's at. Probably early 30s. I've never known somebody's body to be breaking down from having done less work, less physical activity than that Jeff's done. Like, his feet hurt so bad he can't shoot a ball is insane. I don't understand that.
And then he just kept throw it one arm, then just throw it like a baseball. I mean, you were short every time, Jeff.
Well, thank God he took Kirk to that game, and hopefully repaid Kirk for the Springsteen tickets and took him there. Although it's people are saying, this is not me, Sheldon, I've heard this in the streets, I've seen this on the subreddit. People are questioning Kirk's fandom when it comes to Yukon. Sounds like very much a fair weather fan. I think it sounds like the Huskies are going to win this whole thing. They've dominated last year, obviously this year as well. And here's Kirky bandwagon, just hopping in on there for Yukon. I don't know where you stand on this. It seems it's a little questionable here.
I just want him to do that one podcast
with Hurley.
Yes, that would be
so
the
good.
best, and that would drive Rico insane.
Oh, it would be great. I'm envisioning hopefully they can get him in for at least an episode after the season. That would be great.
Here's another thing. How good could that pretzel have been that you would pay to go to a ball game just to eat a pretzel that you still have to pay too much money for?
I've had some great ones. No, I've had some great ones, but usually, I don't know about you, but you get some protein, good, maybe chicken finger in there or something. I don't know because you can't, how do you mess up a chicken finger? You can mess up a pretzel, but you can't mess up a chicken finger.
Yeah,
this whole
week has just been up and down, up and down. The only constant was Coleman getting murdered.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tried and true. That's you got to love that.
Now,
Coleman getting killed for sure.
I would like to know what they're doing right now. Are they at the studio? Are they actually trying to like fix the fucking technology? Are they looking at different boards? Are they trying to get help? Are they trying to look at internet? I would just love to know what is going on.
Yeah, and I want to know, like, are they comfortable doing like a producer's show this week? Are they going to do like a KMS wrap up? What else are they doing? How are they gonna make up for this? There's content. Hopefully over the weekend they could do something. They got to do something to make up for it. Otherwise, Monday is going to be a bloodbath. And whatever it is, we're not going to get anything from the network. That's for sure. It's been I don't know. We don't talk about the network here. Kirk mentioned that he wanted to get rid of the network. And as you know, two guys who are on the network, I think we probably fully support getting rid of the network.
I mean,
much as it can.
I don't live and die by the network, so
Well, whoa, hey, listen, hey, Sheldon, it's really strong. I don't know what you're trying to do here. Okay,
if you go
it's never
back
been
to the
stronger.
you go back to the original debut of the network, the views were so much higher, like
Right.
for all the shows. So I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't care either. I just hope on Monday, I hope Kirk just absolutely obliterates the network. That's my hope, but we'll see. Either way, we're going to keep doing our thing. But also hashtag thank you, Joe, for all your great work in the strength of the
Thank
network.
you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. So anything else from this week that you're thinking of? I know for me, like I see the complaints. Oh, well, Kirk should just take the week off. I saw that on the subreddit. It's like, well, if Kirk takes the week off, we don't get anything. So I'd rather get this because, like you said, he's great on the yak. I wouldn't watch the yak otherwise. So when Titus is there, well, I'm yakking, dude. Like,
Yeah, that was
problem? What's your problem?
I'm just trying to yak, dude. It's like
I'm trying to yak, dude. Yeah, like he's totally just blowing up their whole spot. I think that's great stuff. Having him pop in on Mostly Sports, having Jeff Lowe on the show, I think is great. And having them talk movies. I know Ziggy's not a fan of them talking movies. But I like that.
And
having
that
Stephen
was-
Shea. Stephen Shea was good on the show too,
Stephen Shea was actually really good.
right?
And I thought he was really good on the show because that was like over a 3-hour show, if I remember right. Because
Yeah.
Stephen Shea didn't shut the hell up, which I'm fine with. I'll listen
Right.
to.
Yeah.
And then actually, like Kirk did the dog walk yesterday. I listened to.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
talked about movies and then yelled at White Sox Dave about his stupid Denzel Washington take.
So you can't beat that. Like that's just good stuff. So Kirk taking the week off, like that's a stupid take.
No, people bitch about these shows when he's not in his studio, but like I like seeing all the content of him in New York, in Chicago now. I mean, it's great. You get him in many different areas instead of just the KMS show, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
So the only thing that was bad about it was the the fucking producers with the sound and all that.
Yeah, and I had heard that maybe that was a problem in Chicago. I don't see how that can be a problem in Chicago. The problem in Chicago is the microphones. The microphones sound awful in Chicago. That's not on Coleman nor Justin and that. And I don't know what the solution is there. That's just Barstool microphones. As we talked about, like every time you listen to a Barstool podcast, it's not KMS. It just does not sound great. So
no, I want to know if they're actually working. And I would say this. It's a full-time job. Kirk should have a punch clock and time cards. And when they're there actually working, I want to see how much they actually care about that job and care about that show. Because for as many times as like everything sounded like shit and streams crashing, it shouldn't be the fucking case. So.
No, it shouldn't. Especially it's a 2-man operation. If you want to give Cullinane shit, that's fine. He was one man. You know what I mean? So
and even that was the same with Steve, and that was starting out from literally nothing. That studio is a dump, and Steve made it into a studio. So I mean, I just don't get it. I don't know how it gets worse instead of getting better. That makes no sense.
No. Although I mean, let's take it easy on the Steve praise because I've seen some of that. I've seen that paint job anyway in there. I've seen those lines. Having been in there, those lines don't really match up. I don't know. So the painting whoever did the painting in there didn't do a great job. I know Tony might agree with us on that one. But anything else from this week that you got, Sheldon?
No, this week there was a lot going on, but it's nothing new. Like nothing new to talk about really, because the only developments we had was they did that stream, which has been talked about ad nauseum. And then I wonder, do you think Dave or bet on it?
If he did, maybe he got a loan from Montante. Maybe he did. I don't know. I would love to get him finally to talk about that. Now, to go back to a little bit from basketball and I'm just curious, like your level, your competition, your level of free throw shooting. Where do you stack up against those other guys? Where are you? You like right there with Titus? How would you do?
No, I was basically Shaq. I brick free throws. Okay. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not going to pretend like I'm Big T and I'm good at it.
Okay, right. You're a humble guy. You're a humble guy.
I honestly when that video of Ohio's Tate, him shooting, I mean, he was actually damn good. Him and that ringer from New Hampshire, and I don't like to give New Hampshire praise.
No, it's an awful state. I agree. New Hampshire is an awful state, and UNH basketball is god awful. I know you probably don't have an awareness of that, but I do.
No, I didn't. I don't have an awareness.
Whoa, man, the only thing worse than UNH hockey is UNH basketball. It is god awful. So good for him coming in there. He was a baller. I think I could shoot with that guy. I think I could. I'm close to that, but I'm not nearly as good as what Titus and Kirk were putting together, especially for over that span of time. And then there was that blow up with Brandon Walker. I've been in some heated moments on a basketball court. I don't know if you had maybe a story you wanted to tell there, Sheldon, or maybe you don't want to get into it, but
I was I was playing basketball my junior year, and small towns in North Dakota, sometimes you got really shitty refs. And there was a kid who had committed to play defensive line for NDSU. And he's way bigger than me, if you can believe that. And he was hacking the shit out of me. And finally, I got pushed in the wall, and I took the ball and whipped it at him, told him to go fuck himself, and then threw me out of the game.
Let's go.
Let's go. It was all like a giant blur.
All right. I like that. Yeah. I was known to clear some guys out coming through if they were doing something to my teammates, but I didn't get one of those. That's a good one, Sheldon. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It probably wasn't as bad as Kirk. I think he was gonna kill Brandon, or was he gonna slit his throat? I'll break his fucking jaw. I'll break his
fucking jaw. Which is a great
Then fucking Peacemaker Portnoy. Okay.
Portnoy was nervous, man. You could hear it.
Pat Bev piecing out.
Oh my God. That was great. Oh, that was awesome. All right. Well, I guess we'll get out of here. This is the rundown, and as we do, we'll give it up to the doggo. Ziggy Rooney is going to close out the show. Sheldon and I will hang here for a second, but we'll give Ziggy, I guess, the last word. He takes up many words. He's going to take the last one here. Here we go.
I was impressed with Kirk's soccer skills during the Yak Challenge. And sure, his baseball swing was lacking good hip-to-shoulder separation. But let's not forget, this is a man in dire need of hip surgery. A lot of people ask me, do I like Jeff D. Lowe? We know Kirk does, even though they are polar opposites. I'll give you some examples. Jeff is going to Las Vegas for his birthday, while Kirk is too claustrophobic for a pig pile. At 50 years old, Kirk outworked all of Barstool during the free throw stream. Meanwhile, Jeff D. Lowe's feet hurt after 5 minutes of shooting threes. I bet Coleman's second cousin Larry is in better shape than Jeff. Now, Kirk doesn't care about present-day sports, while Jeff is what I call a sports hardo. We get it, Jeff. You can name the starting five of High Point University's men's basketball team. I have to say, though, I do appreciate his willingness to share dirt on the Hollywood elites. Speaking of elites, it seems like Julie's wet dreams came true. She's back helping with the Portland show. I just hope Justin and Coleman don't screw that one up. Coleman's tickler file of Portland ideas should start and end with Chris Coleman and his magic tricks. And hey, maybe Chris can magically fix all the tech issues while he's at it. On the topic of ticklers, on the Yak this week, Kirk said he's not ticklish. But maybe he just hasn't met the right tickler? I bet Jeff D. Lowe would make a good tickler. So back to the question. Do I like Jeff D'Lo? For one thing, he does have a way of inserting himself into the conversation. And sometimes he calls into the show with the scripted jokes that go on too long. But a friend of Kirk's is a friend of mine.
I can't tell you how much I hated that.
Yeah.
And I know it took him way too fucking long to write that script. You are pathetic, Ziggy.
The best, and he's the worst.
Oh my God.
That's the rundown.